So I'm flying down the highway at like 80 miles an hour, trying to get my red lipstick on my mouth, but not anywhere else on my face. A couple months ago, I took on an unpaid internship to partner with an ad agency consultant, honestly, who's pretty sketchy. And I am on my way to a meeting with him, Anthony, so that we can help one of the biggest ad agencies in the world secure their next cornerstone client. Hashtag no press. So you can imagine my surprise when I'm 20 minutes away from the meeting in downtown Toronto. My phone rings. It's Anthony. And he tells me he's in bed with his waitress of the week, a nasty hangover, and absolutely no remorse about the fact that he's going to skip the meeting. It's just me and the entire C-suite of this ad agency. Now, for full context, in Anthony's words, the plan was, I'm going to do all the talking, babe. All you have to do is sit there and look good. Take a couple notes and smile. Okay. But now I'm heading into this meeting with no preparation, no plan, and no choice but to hope for the best. So I open the door to conference room B, and I see the entire C-suite waiting for me at this table. I sit down. I open my laptop. I am positive that a team of guys in yellow hazmat suits are about to rappel down from the ceiling shouting, "Imposter, imposter, get her out of here!" I am taking notes. I am looking good, if I don't say so myself. And I'm smiling. I am taking all of the insights in that I can and summarizing key points. And it comes to me that I actually might have a great idea. And I let it come out. And then I wait. And I watch intently until finally the chief creative officer leans forward in her chair and says, "That's a good idea, Leisse. Great work." Whew. In that moment, I feel immense relief. And I also feel like I'm enough. Now, that feeling of enough is a pretty new experience for me. Because honestly, for most of my life, I have been living the live action director's extended cut of Goldilocks. Constantly moving from bowl to bowl, chair to chair, room to room, in the desperate pursuit of finding just right. My name is Leisse Wilcox. You can think new lease on life. And I have been consulting, performance coaching with leaders who are at the top of their game across the world. So when I say this, know that I say it after gathering years worth of data. We are all struggling to find a sense of being enough. All of us. Now, sometimes that feeling of not enough comes from we don't think we are enough. And I imagine myself at 17. I got a big physics test coming up. I don't know if you've ever taken physics, but it is hard. Physics is not my love language. But I'm taking physics because my parents told me to. And my parents and I have a long-standing, unwritten agreement that nothing I do will ever be good enough for them. Being the eternal optimist, I put on my rose-colored glasses knowing how much they value and respect people who succeed in science. And I decide, after a semester of what you might call getting 50 adjacent, I'm going to ace this test. And so I study. I study like I have never studied for anything before, like before or since, frankly. And wildly, I get that test back. Guys, it's an 86. Woo! I am crying tears of joy. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of myself. I cannot wait to share this with my dad. My dad gets home from the hospital where he's a physician. And even as a 17-year-old, I am like holding it in his face like a 4-year-old might and saying, Dad, check it out. I got an 86. And my dad looks at me from over the top of his glasses and says, that's 14% of your patients that just died. Not enough, not enough, not enough. Now, sometimes those feelings of not enough come from feeling like we don't have enough. So it's spring of 2020, and Jake comes to work with me. Now, Jake is a Juno Award-winning musician. Jake is also Justin Bieber's first vocal coach. Not to name drop or anything, but just saying, I was your coach. Now, Jake had put her music career on pause so she could focus on becoming a mom. Are there any other moms out here in this crowd? So you know that Jake was in the middle of receiving the new mom starter pack, which includes, but is not limited to, a massive identity crisis and 6 to 17 years of no sleep. Jake is struggling with not enough. But on top of that, Jake's husband, who is now de facto the primary breadwinner in the family, he's also a musician. And it's spring of 2020. Hashtag enough said. Jake is really struggling after her lifestyle has changed, her identity has changed, and she just doesn't feel like it's enough. And so we slow it down. We take a breath. I ask her, what would enough feel like for you? And Jake tells me that she would put on a little black Prada shift dress, and she would book a weekend away at this very bougie hotel with her husband, where they only burn this one kind of Japanese plum incense, like their signature fragrance. And she would be sipping a dirty martini at the bar. Well, remember I mentioned it was spring of 2020, musicians, la 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 la. Going away for a few days at a bougie hotel in a Prada shift dress is not exactly what you might call in the budget right now. So instead, we decide to recreate that at home. We go through her closet. She finds a great little black dress that she loves. And we set up a date night at home with her husband. He can make her a dirty martini. They can sip it in their kitchen. And you're not going to believe this, but we actually found that same Japanese plum signature fragrance incense on Amazon and had it shipped to her so that she got the whole experience. And it felt just right. I think we can all agree there are times at which we all struggle in feeling we're not enough. Yes? Yeah? You get it. What's bananas is that sometimes we also struggle with feelings that we might be too much. Anybody ever felt that in their life? Too loud? Too emotional? Too complicated? Too much. To overcompensate for my decades worth of feeling inadequate and not enough, I decide to go hard in the other direction. I am running towards overachieving, and I become the world's best toxic achiever. So much so that when I'm 36 and I get blindsided by an aggressive breast cancer diagnosis, after the initial shock has worn off that, oh my God, I'm 36 and I have breast cancer, I decide this is gonna be a perfect opportunity for me. I mean, I've always wanted to write a book, but I've never had enough time. And now here I am. I've got at least 2 surgeries I'm going to be able to recover from. And I've got 4 months of chemotherapy I'm going to do. That's like 5 hours a day every other week for 4 months. I got time to write my book. And so I write a book. But guys, it's not any book. It's a best-selling book. And I write that best-selling book during my chemo treatments. The nurses saved me the good chair with all the lights, and there's like a little rainbow coming in. It's amazing. I write the best-selling book during chemo while parenting my 3 little girls who are all under the age of 8, while running my own business, because I am single and I am self-employed and I have no other choice to make this bloody work. So you can imagine, by the end of this, I'm really feeling myself. I am crying tears of joy. Once again, I am happy. I am so proud. And naturally, I'm pretty sure I'm going to become like the new it girl of Toronto. I just really felt that people would finally see me for how special I really am. I wouldn't say I was quite at the point of wearing my sunglasses inside all the time, but I was not humble. It was not cute. And still, I was ridiculously proud of what I had just done. So you can imagine my surprise when I open up my phone. And I'm really pissed. Actually, I'm really hurt. Because I'm getting messages on Instagram that say, "This is offensive." What? Nobody should have a breast cancer experience and that's good? What? I connect with some of my well-meaning friends and colleagues, and they say to me, you know, like, it is a little much. They tell me that I'm not relatable, that I've been through so much that nobody can really understand, so they want to instead tune me out. I talked to a business coach. He advises me that maybe I should just tone it down a little, maybe hold it back, kind of shrink to fit the digital marketing landscape we all love. And all I hear is too much, too much, too much. Now, we all struggle with those feelings of being too much. And it's not just women. A lot of time people think this is just a women's issue. It is not. Men struggle with this too. My amazing husband, in my phone he's saved as Mr. Wonderful, but you can just call him Jeff. Jeff is 6'3", he's built like a linebacker. He's really good looking. And Jeff is good at everything. Honestly, it's a little annoying. He's like, the guy is good at everything. Jeff is one of those people who is a Renaissance man, and he, even as a kid, was more like a Renaissance boy. Good student, good athlete. He was even an early entrepreneur, so he became very well known with all the Italian ladies in the neighborhood that he was the one to call if you needed your lawn cut, your car detailed, or your, I don't know, shingles painted, whatever you want. It doesn't matter, just call Jeff. Jeff can do it. Now, at the same time, Jeff had a little sister who is lovely, generous, and talented, all in her own way. But her talents didn't manifest as outwardly as Jeff's did in that same period of time. So they're very, very well-intentioned and incredibly lovely parents, in order to protect their daughter, ironically from not feeling enough, asked Jeff to maybe tone it down a little. Hold it back, kind of shrink to fit. He learned from an early age that you don't want to celebrate your accomplishments because it might come across as being a little too much. Now, fast forward to Jeff being a 50-year-old man, still looking good. You cannot pay this guy to take a compliment. Not that long ago, Jeff and I bought a Century home together. And in 1 year of home ownership, it felt like we were on extreme home makeover together. But this time, or in this version, Instead of there being like a cute little host, like a sexy, rugged contractor, and a team of divine savvy Oompa Loompas, it's just Jeff, period. So one morning, Jeff and I are sitting on the couch, we're having our coffee, kind of our thing, and we're looking at the kitchen at this beautiful coffee bar he has just built. It is so gorgeous. And I kind of tap him on the shoulder and I say, Jeff, way to go, man. This is so beautiful. And he says, yeah, it's off by 1/8 of a millimeter over there, and I gotta paint that over there, and don't get too excited because I gotta build a pantry and rehang the drywall. And I slow it down. We take a breath. And I ask him just to appreciate how enough this is right now. Now, Jeff says thank you. And it's a genuine thank you. There's no deflection or a little jokey joke or self-deprecation. It's thank you. I'm actually really proud of the work that I did on this. He takes a picture, he sends it to his Italian mom, and it feels just right. You know, enough is a vague concept, and it can feel like it's a constantly moving target. So, you know, when you decide to do something, you're going to set that goal, and that surely will feel like it's enough for you. And you work and you work, you hustle. You finally get into that moment in which you're supposed to have enough, and you don't even notice it. Like, you certainly can't be there to enjoy it because you've already set your sights on something that's so far away from you and without your reach. But surely when you get there, that'll feel like enough. And so as a result, we get stuck in this cycle of do, achieve, repeat, do, achieve, repeat, do, achieve, repeat, until you burn out. Or I guess you die. And I can just see it on your gravestone now. She worked so hard. Oh, he did so much. Just wasn't quite enough. And now here he lies. So Christine came to work with me in 2022. And Christine is what you might call a classic overachiever. She's like the Drake of real estate. She started from the bottom, now she's here. And she is really, really killing it. But like many toxic overachievers, Christine never feels like it's enough, like never enough. And so we slow it down. We take a breath. And I think you know what I'm going to ask her. What would enough feel like for you? She closes her eyes and effortlessly she says to me, I would spend as much time as possible at our family cottage. I would keep doing the work that I'm doing, and I would start helping other women achieve their dreams through real estate. And I would make damn sure I could be present for every single one of my kids' volleyball and soccer games. Now, this is a moment that is indelibly burned into my brain, because in that moment, I watched her get struck with a lightning bolt of truth as she opened her eyes and said, oh my God, Leisse, I just described my actual life to you. And in that moment, Christine found this permission slip that she didn't know she needed to let it just be enough, to live in it and feel how good it feels to be just right. Enough is vague, it's nebulous, and it looks different for each of us because it's such a culmination of our own past experiences. For me, enough looks like baking muffins with my kids, using a mix, because honestly, if I'm making it at home, it counts as homemade. Hand to God. Enough for me looks like eating Taco Bell in bed, watching Love is Blind Sweden, and calling it self-care. Enough for me looks like a work-life rhythm that evolves as I do, which means sometimes I work a 3-day week so that I can be with my daughters at their dance recitals and their competitions, family dinners. And other times it looks like me missing out on March break because I'm on a week-long work trip. That's what enough looks like for me. Enough is so specific to what we each want and crave. And now it's your turn. I'm going to invite us to slow it down. Take a breath. You can close your eyes if you want. And I'm going to ask you, what would enough feel like for you? And as you hold that vision in your head, I'll invite you to put one hand on your heart and anchor that vision as a feeling to experience in your body. Go ahead and open your eyes. You will never make enough money. You will never win the approval of enough people. And you will never overachieve your way to success if you don't know what enough looks like. So Goldilocks, my sweet Goldilocks, your era of moving from bowl to bowl, chair to chair, room to room, it's over. You just proved a moment ago that you already know what enough would look like for you. You already know. All you have to do now is take that vision and allow it to be your reality, giving yourself the permission you need to let it feel just right.